ever thought about forgetting Eric's last name, it's right here. Eric Moon on the keys. Does it feel like we've been in a tomb for the last couple of years?
Yes.
And isn't it time to empty that tomb? Gathering together, coming out of that isolation, coming out of that disconnection. I am, as a hospital chaplain and a minister, I am obsessed with the idea of social dislocation, loneliness, and connection. I'm obsessed with that idea. So much of what the church is about is this connection. Singing together, laughing together, enjoying the bird song together, and just being together. And seeing in each other's face, our own face, and the face of the divine. So welcome. Welcome to Prairie, Unitarian Universalist. Holy and beautiful the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High. To face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened and to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour, breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. Three unseen guests attend us: faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them a place. Our approved indoor.
The challenge is on the stage.
Oh. What is this then?
A broken table.
Oh! Well, how about that? Anthony is like, what did I get myself into? Here's a challenge for us. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Michael?
Morning, everyone. As we prepare to listen to our meditation this morning, please find a comfortable position. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Breathe deeply and quietly in and out. In and out. One more time, in and out. Think about how you felt when you awoke this beautiful morning. Our meditation is from David White, and it is entitled, What to Remember When Waking. In that first, hardly noticed moment in which you wake, coming back to this life from the other, more secret, movable, and frighteningly honest world where everything began, there is a small opening into the new day, which closes the moment you begin your plans. What you can plan is too small for you to live. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your sleep. To be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live in your true inheritance. You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited from another greater night than the one from which you have just emerged. Now, looking through the slanting light of the morning window toward the mountain presence of everything that can be, what urgency calls you to your one love? What shape waits in the seed of you to grow and spread its branches against a future sky? Is it waiting in the fertile sea? In the trees beyond your house? In the life you can imagine for yourself? In the open and lovely white page on the writing desk? Blessed be. Beloved Prairie, this beautiful Easter morning, our Prairie community has the collective power to manifest good in this world. I invite all of you to speak in peace and love and call out the names of those who you hold near and dear to your hearts, who need our support. We bear witness to the love brought forth by the community of Prairie UU and allow the universe and its light to bind not only those who have been named, but also those who remain unnamed and held in the hearts of our community.
I want to make sure before we hear our reading today, are there any joys and sorrows from any of the young people that we have today? Anything you want to share? Well, you are always invited to along or with your human to come and be with us, okay? The door is always open, the table is open. Let's say our covenant. Thank you. Let's say our covenant together, shall we? And then we'll hear our reading. We covenant to be a welcoming and loving community, offering each other fellowship, sanctuary, and a joyful spirit. We seek justice and peace in all our deeds and relationships, and we respect and honor both the individual and the collective search for sacred meaning and truth. We revere and celebrate the diversity of our earth and are guided by the spirit that connects all life as we reach out to offer our best to ourselves, our community, and our world. Take a moment and greet one another and pass the peace with each other. Nice to see you.
It's nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody. Say,
I love it.
alright, that's enough joy. That's enough joy. Take some.
Kendra is at home with her sick child, but we're going to hear the Gospel of John. And this is when Mary encounters something.
All right. John 20, verses 11 through 15. But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb. And she saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet. They said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher.
It is so wonderful to hear everyone singing. So excuse me if I start crying. Let us rise as we're willing and able to sing Jesus Christ is risen today. For those of you who don't know me that well, I grew up in a Methodist church. And so this hymn really adds to a lot of it.
Good Lord, heaven is always there.
Friends, my name is Roger Butts, and I am so honored to be your minister and to see each one of you here today. It is Easter morning, and later on I'm going to give you a gift, a booklet that has a lot of different perspectives about Easter morning. But this morning I want to just reflect on one small piece of Easter. Who is this Jesus, and where is this Jesus? This is what we read in our Transcendentalist reading group the other night. Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Unitarian minister, 18, whatever. Something a long time ago. Went to Harvard College to the divinity school. And he gave this divinity school address. And he said, who is this Jesus? What is this Jesus? Why is this important? It's Jesus, of all the prophets, of all the geniuses, of all those who show us what it is to be fully human, saw in a unique and powerful way the human spirit. He saw the poetry at the heart of every person in every age. And he said, we have opportunity. He said to those young divinity students, some of whom would be Congregationalist and some of whom would be Unitarian. He said to them, you, in your own resurrections, in your own new life, in your own struggle and reemergence, you can take all of that life experience, put it through the fire of thought, and come up with a gospel narrative of hope and resurrection. Show them how you have lived. So I'll tell you a story this morning. And then we're going to hear from the Reverend Dr. Anthony Scott, who is the Associate Conference Minister of the Rocky Mountain Conference of the United Church of Christ. That was folks that Emerson were speaking to, those old Puritans. Some of them became Unitarians, some of them became Congregationalists. But now we're pretty tight. We're pretty close. This morning, I woke up and I could not find my car keys. I could not find my car keys. And I mean, I still don't know where they are. And I borrowed a car because my 17-year-old son, my 18-year-old son's car is not inhabitable. No teenage boys smell it. And so I lost my keys and I was in a panic. How much more when Mary comes to the tomb and thinks, my rabbi, my teacher is gone. Where is Jesus? Where is he? If I panicked over a set of car keys to a Toyota Corolla, right? How much more is Mary saying, oh no. But Jesus, in that moment, says, oh no. That rabbi says, oh no. This is not the end of the story. Those car keys are going to come back. I'm going to be with you. Tell the others. Go and preach, woman. Right? That Facebook poster has it right. No women preachers, no Jesus. It took us a long time to get women preachers, but here we are. Now, my mom this week, Emerson said, I went to church so many times and I never knew if somebody cried or laughed or had kids or had hope, right? Because they're just rote. He was so bored by it. I want to tell you about my mom. 8th grade education, Galesburg, Illinois. Resilient, strong, amazing woman. Worked her whole life And when she needed hip surgery, before she had an opportunity to come out here to Colorado with my two sisters, and she came and she walked around, even on that hill. She was not going to miss Manitou Springs. She was not going to miss Pikes Peak. She was not going to miss Colorado Springs. She is strong and resilient. And this week, because of the melanoma, they took a scan. They found some spots on her lung. They found some spots. This might be it for her, right? She hasn't been sick in 84, 85 years. This might be it for her. But one time, in Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, on the Mississippi River, she came to our house. I was the minister of the Unitarian church there. And she came to our house, and Nora, who's 19 now, was just a little thing. And she sat in our house and looked out the window and she said, Nora, look at that red bird. That red bird is my favorite bird. And we went driving afterwards with my mom, and Nora, and me. I was in the car, as always. And I had to go do something, and we were driving along. And along the Mississippi River, it was a gray day. You know how the Midwest gets. It was a gray day. And along the Mississippi River, there were two double rainbows. And I said, Nora girl, look at those double rainbows. What a beautiful world this is. And she said, oh yes. She said, oh yes. But I sure hope we see another red bird. If my mom dies in the next 10 years, or the next 10 months, or whenever, every time I see a red bird, I will know that miracles happen. And I will know that resurrection happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my dear friend, Reverend Dr. Anthony Scott. Introduce yourself, meet Prairie, Unitarian, Universalist, and we're so delighted and honored to have you today. Where's hope, brother? Where's hope?
Well, good morning. I'm so glad to be with you. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And I have received such a warm welcome from so many of you this morning. And for whoever ordered the sunshine and the warm weather, thank you for ordering. Yes, that was you. Thank you for ordering that just for me. I really appreciate that. I am the Reverend Dr. Anthony Scott, Associate Conference Minister for the Rocky Mountain Conference of the United Church of Christ, and so glad to have met Roger on my life's journey, and glad that you have invited me to share this space with you and with all of you. It is good to be with you, beloved. Won't you pray with me? The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercy never comes to an end. They are new every morning. New every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, O Lord. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see. Hallelujah. All I have needed thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Amen.
Oh God, you have been our help in ages past and our hope for years to come. In you we find shelter from life's stormy blast, and in you, at the end of our life's journey, we shall find our eternal home. We thank you, O God, for your goodness and for your grace and for your mercy, your power to save and to heal, to deliver and to set us free from everything that binds us. Oh God, now this is the moment of preaching. You know who I am and who I'm not. You know what I am and what I'm not. So I ask you, oh God, won't you use me in spite of my flaws to bring about a perfect blessing for these, your people. It's in the name of Christ that I pray this prayer. Amen. I ask this simple question. Where have you laid your hope? Where have you laid your hope? Shocked, horrified, devastated, distraught, helpless, amazed, stunned, and hopeless. These were the words used to describe the emotion of the people of Paris on a few years past during Holy Week, I believe it was. Shocked, horrified, devastated, distraught, helpless, amazed, stunned, hopeless. It was the Monday of Holy Week in 2019. It was punctuated with the sights and the sounds of the flames, which wreaked havoc on the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Notre Dame was the great cathedral coming back again. I guess it too shall rise like Christ and seasonal allergies. It took hundreds of years to complete. It was filled with priceless artwork and holy relics and world-famous instruments and the great admiration of people around the world. That building which hosted the coronation of monarchs and that great edifice which saw 12 or 13 million visitors annually, all who would drop a small coin in the boxes in the front. That building immortalized in great literature and in artwork and in photographs and blessed memory in a matter of only a few hours was rendered uninhabitable. Shocked, horrified, devastated, distraught, helpless, amazed, stunned, hopeless. In an interview, it was said that Notre Dame was more than a house of worship. It's a symbol of French culture, architecture, and history. Notre Dame in Paris is really one of the beating hearts of French civilization. The question was asked, how can you rebuild 8 or 9 centuries of history? How can you rebuild the tears? How can you rebuild the whispers, the memories, the prayers of a whole country, a whole civilization? How do you do that? In just a matter of hours, some of you may have seen it. Did you see it? I watched the whole thing. The roof was gone. In just a matter of hours, the spire fell through the roof and the ceiling of the cathedral. In just a matter of hours, this cathedral, this symbol of faith, this symbol of beauty, this symbol of hope for so many itself was in jeopardy. How do you go on when you see your hope go up in flames? You place your hope in your house. And what do you do when the house goes up in flames? When the city decides to inflate, I mean to properly assess your property values, you heard what I said, right? To raise their revenues, evicting perhaps long-term homeowners. You place your faith, your hope in the hands of physicians who tell you there is no more hope. There's nothing to be done. You place your hope in your job, but your company downsized. Laying you off and eliminating pensions in some cases. You place your hope in government, and well, we know what's happening there. You place your hope in time, and you hope that time would erase all the moral ills of society. You hope that it would eliminate racism and racial prejudice, and that it would disappear all the time. Things get better with time. That's a lie. You hope everything would get better. You hope your situation would clear up. You hope that in time. But here we are, as we stand in the little white chapel in the Prairie. Black churches are still burning in this country. The blood of black and brown people, our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, is still staining the streets of this country. Michael Brown's blood cried out to me from the pavement in Ferguson. Shocked, horrified, devastated, distraught, helpless and amazed, stunned, hopeless. What do you do when your hope goes up in flames? Mary Magdalene, a faithful disciple of Jesus Christ, saw her hope die on a Friday. She saw him flogged by Roman soldiers. She saw him carrying his own cross down the Via Dolorosa, or the way of blood. Mary saw the nails placed in Jesus' hands and feet. She saw Jesus take his last breath. She saw the spear thrust in his side and the mixture of water and blood pour out. Mary saw Jesus, her source of hope, die. Her healer died. Her teacher died. Her Lord died. Her salvation, her redemption, her reclamation died. She saw her hope die. This Mary, a woman from Magdala, was a woman of means. She was not a prostitute, as some would report. She was a woman of many means who supported Jesus out of her own wealth. She was the woman out of whom 7 demons were cast. She was the woman who came in to Jesus one evening while he was at supper, washed his feet with her tears and dried it with her hair, and anointed them with costly ointment. This Mary dedicated all of who she was to the service of Jesus. This Mary dedicated all she was and all that she had to the act of being a disciple of Christ. There had been close calls before. People had tried to capture Jesus before. People had tried to kill Jesus before, but he always escaped. But it was not so this time. She saw her teacher, her leader, the object of her devotion, her hope. She saw her hope die. Have you ever been there before? Yes. You dedicated all that you are and all that you have and all of your resources to one individual, to one cause, to one source of a type of hope. And there had been close calls before. You had talked about divorce before. You had talked about foreclosure before. You had talked about layoffs before. But never did you expect that it would actually happen. A marriage that you invested so much time and effort into goes up in smoke. There have been close calls before, but you didn't expect this. Your child who you invested so much time and money in, and sometimes more money than time. There have been close calls before. You almost lost them to addiction before. You almost lost them to a path that you would not have chosen for them before. But now you didn't expect that this would actually happen. How about this? That job that you love? Your dream job. The job that you know that you would be happy with for the next 30 to 45 years. That doesn't happen anymore. There have been close calls and layoffs before. Budget cuts before, but you didn't expect this. You invested so much time and money and blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and now what? What do you do? Where do you go? Where can you turn when your hope, when the object of your devotion, the object which gives you strength, your peace, your joy, when that object has been dissipated, eliminated, dissolved right before your very eyes? It's gone. What do you do when your hope has died and been buried, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust? Are you there? Do you feel it? I imagine this is how Mary felt. Sad, alone, helpless, and hopeless. In our text, we find Mary at the tomb where she has laid her joy, where she's laid the source of her strength, the source of her meaning, her hope to rest. Her hope had a name. His name was Jesus. Not only is Jesus dead, but she finds that his body is missing. Where have you laid your hope? Mary laid her hope to rest in a tomb carved out of a mountainside. Maybe you've laid your hope to rest in the earth or in a garden of memories or doubts or fears. Maybe no matter how hard you try to bury it, to put it behind you, your hope pursues you like some kind of undead ghost or zombie. Where have you laid your hope? We've all experienced this feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, of doubt, of dread, of fear, of brokenness. But the Bible informs us that Mary stooped down to look at the place where she last saw Jesus, and he was gone. I can only imagine how she felt. The light of the world extinguished her light. It appears to be a hopeless situation, and just then, Mary's hope meets her. Just outside the tomb, and he calls to her, and he says, "Woman, why are you weeping?" Jesus, her hope, once dead and now risen, calls to her, and she is looking at him, and he's looking at her, and she's looking at him, and he's looking at her, and she's looking at him, and he's looking at her, and she does not recognize him. The Bible says that she thought he was the gardener. It's interesting, I think, that Mary mistook her hope for the help.
Oh, hey, come on.
Sometimes we look our hope dead in the face. We look our dreams dead in the face and say, "Oh, that's not it. It's not the way I expect it." I don't know about you, but oftentimes I place hope and faith and trust in this thing or in that thing, and I expect the Lord to tend to it. Help me out. Help brother out. I expect God to help it along and to care for it and to keep my hope alive. Some things are growing in that garden, some things are dead. How often have we mistaken our help, our hope for our help? Lord, bless this. God, bless that. And Lord, if you just get me out of this one thing, this one time, I swear, I promise. To be sure, God is with us. Jesus is with us. He is indeed a very present help in the time of trouble. But sometimes we treat God so cheaply, like a jinn or genie, a worker of magic. And so Mary asked Jesus, whom she supposes is the gardener, merely to help, to bring him back. But just then, Jesus calls her name, and the Bible says that she turned to him and said, Rabboni. She recognized in that moment that was her teacher. Where have you laid your hope? It's no secret, it's no surprise in my belief, the Jesus of history and the Christ of faith are indeed risen, just as he said, with all power in his hands. But just in case you misplaced hope, You found your visions and your dreams dashed and buried. I want you to know that there is living hope that presents itself. Just in case you have found yourself without hope, hear hope calling your name, saying, rise again.
Yes.
We serve a God who is wise enough to see through our facades, through our masks, through our pain, through our grief, through our K95, through our restlessness. We serve a God who calls us and who knows our name. Maybe everything didn't work out as you planned, but hope is still alive. Maybe you have been broken, but the mender of broken places stands before you. Have your dreams perhaps become nightmares? The hero of our story has already saved the day. Have you had to bury your hope? Jesus, the living hope, stands with his hands open wide, outstretched with nail prints showing that even the wound in his side, not even death could destroy him. But thanks be to God, he has now the power to destroy death. Oh death, where is thy sting? Oh grave, where is thy victory? In Jesus there is victory, there is hope, there is life everlasting. The songwriter says this: my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name, on Christ the solid rock. I said my Baptist is coming out. All other ground is sinking sand. I heard that they took the rock and the stone that the builders had rejected. They took the rock in the weary land, the shelter in the time of storm. They took the rock, that stone of Zion. They took the rock, the firm foundation. They laid his body in a tomb. They put the rock inside the rock, on top of the rock, and they placed the rock in front of the rock to keep the rock inside. Did you follow me? But Jesus, the rock that is higher than I, said, stay there all night. The living stone, that rock stayed there all day Saturday. The rock, the stone of my salvation, laid there all night Saturday night. But early on Sunday morning, the rock got up with all power in his hands. He got up with all power over death, over hell, and the grave. He got up with all power saying, death, where is your sting? And grave, where is your victory? But thanks be to God, Mary's baby, Jesus, the bright and the morning star, the lily of the valley, the gardener of 10,000 gardens, the shepherd on 10,000 hills, got up like he said he would. And in his getting up, it puts getting up in me, and it puts getting up in you. Where have you laid your hope? See it, perceive it, discern it, hear your hope calling your name. Amen.
All right. We're gonna sing. We're gonna sing. We're gonna sing. We're gonna sing. So this is what I want for Prairie. This is what I want every Sunday for every one of us to speak our truth from the greatest depths. Buddhist, humanist, Christian, all of it. Your gospel, your story, your hope, your resurrection. This is what we have in mind for Prairie. Go ahead, Paul.
So thank you for Deidre, Andrew, Molly, Lad for coming out to sing with us today. I wrote this piece probably about 10 years ago. The words are by John Cloud Campbell Crumb, who was a figure in the Church of England. He wrote this hymn. I think it appeared in Oxford Hymnal in 1928. But this is his words. This is my music.
Now the spring rises from the very rain. We can planting as our name.
Love lives again, and with the death ring. Love is come again, like a wind that's free and green. Love is come again, like a wind that's free and green.
In the great lake, love by hatred slain, thinking that we never he would wake again.
Take the earth, like grain that sleeps will see. Love has come again, like the wind that's free and green. Love has come again, like wind that's free and green. When our hearts are weary, grieving or in pain, love touch and call us back to life again. Feel the hearts that let them in. Love has come again, like the wind that's free and green. Love has come again, like speed that's free and green. Love has come again, like the wind that's free and green. Love has come again, like wind that's free and green.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it time for all your Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Irvish.
This makes me very happy.
Yes.
All right, how are you guys? Yeah, happy Easter. Did anybody search for eggs yet already today? Yeah, some, not yet. I think you're gonna get to search for eggs here too afterwards. Yeah. All right. But I have a story that Reverend Butts found, and Khalees looked at it, and then I looked at it, and we thought it was such a great story. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. It's called The Story of the Cracked Pot. So have you ever seen someone in a picture, maybe in a movie, who had to carry water from their stream to their home? They had a rod across their shoulders,
in 2 pots. You might have seen it in India or China or somewhere in Africa, lots of places. Yeah. Well, that's what this is about. This lady has to go to the stream or the river every day to get her water. So I'm going to tell you about that. She's so great. Yes, that's
Love
great.
it.
Yeah. So, this is about a water carrier, a lady. Every morning, as soon as the sun rose, she walked from her home to collect water in 2 earthen pots. One pot was perfectly formed. The other, although the same shape, it had a crack in it. So whenever they returned back, she did it with her pots to the house. One pot was full and one pot was only half full because of that crack. For a full 2 years, this went on daily, with the water bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water back to her home. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was unable to accomplish anything close to being full when it reached the home. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. It said, "I'm ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you. I'm so sorry. For years and years, I have watched you fill me with water, and I can only imagine what a fruitless task it must be for you, as whenever we turn to home, I am only ever half full. While in comparison, the other pot is perfect. It rarely loses any drop of water on our way back home. But me, I'm far from perfect. This crack in my side, not only does it cause me so much hurt and shame, but it must also cause you to want to get rid of me. Surely I'm only making this long, difficult job that you do each day that much more difficult. I can understand if you're thinking of getting rid of me and replacing me with another perfectly formed pot." The water carrier listened to these words with both care and compassion. The cracked pot's story of unworthiness and shame was not one that she recognized. For this was not what she thought of the pot. She knew about the crack, but she didn't see it as an imperfection. No, as something that made it less worthy than any other pot that hung from her shoulder. Gently, she turned to the pot and said, "On our return walk home, I want you to look up and look out. For too long, it would seem you've been looking down, comparing yourself to others and not noticing how you are and the crack that you have in your side, what it has brought as far as untold beauty into my life." Well, the cracked pot was puzzled. It wondered what on earth her words meant. However, Crackpot trusted her, trusted the water carrier. It occurred to it that all the time it had journeyed with her, she had never said a mean word to that cracked pot. She'd always shown a sense of gratefulness and care when filling it with water. So, on the return journey from the stream back to the home, the cracked pot looked up and looked out. Took notice of the sun warming the beautiful flowers on its side of the path. There was an amazing spread of color and life. The water carrier, in her wisdom, knowing the crack in the pot's side, had sprinkled seeds along the path. These seeds were watered every day as a result of that crack in the pot's side. And the path that had once been barren was now filled with beautiful wildflowers. And the other side of the path had no flowers at all. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my home. Without you being just the way you are, we would not have this beauty that came into our home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
amen.
good for all of us. All right, that's it. I don't know if I seen you somewhere, or we just stand up and go back to our seats.
I don't know. Very good. Brenda Pike. Where's Brenda?
here, along with Kim and our fellow board members and everybody that wants to jump in and reach out and touch you guys. But first, I do need to say thank you for those that have already pledged online and given and been so generous with what you have provided already. We do have, I think we're at about 90% of families that have donated so far, and we still have a little ways to go. So I think it's supposed to be the end of our stewardship time today, but we're going to extend it a couple weeks, of course. And you can just email me, you can text me at the Prairie email, however you'd like. I'll make it happen. Just, you can give me a verbal if you like. You can send a form, send an email, anything like that. But we're happy to be continuing on here, helping to raise money to support Roger standing up here more and more, we hope. What a great day. I'm so happy to be here and happy to
That's for
see
the
you.
offering too.
What's that?
That's for the offering.
Oh, the offering? You mean in the plate? Oh, well, absolutely. You can definitely drop a little in the plate today or whatever, or just absolutely anytime. We are grateful. Thank you, and have a great Sunday. See you around.
Is there an offering plate? Oh, good. We're going to ask you to dig deep today. Find some hope. Can you give another round of applause for Anthony Scott? You all know that, go ahead and put it around. You all know that I'm becoming really good friends with all of Hannah, who is at Parker Hilltop UCC, United Church of Christ, which is my wife's denomination and Anthony's denomination. And Olive and I are really good friends. And she said, "How did you get Anthony Scott on Easter? How did that happen?" I was like, "I asked." And he said yes. So we are very blessed to have you today. And thank you for reminding us about hope. Emerson said, "We are embodied with Jesus all the time." I am going to, Crystal's going to let us know when the Easter thing is for the kids. But I'm going to just send you off with this benediction. With beauty before me I walk. Come on up, come on up, come on. With beauty before me I walk. With beauty behind me I walk. With beauty above me I walk. With beauty around me I walk. With beauty before me I sing. With beauty behind me I sing. With beauty above me I sing. With beauty around me I sing. With love before me I pray. With love behind me I pray. With love above me I pray. With love around me I pray. Go, friends, in hope. Go in peace. And be the star of your own gospel. Like God bless you one and all. And I'm going to give this out to you. I have prepared for each one of you a booklet on Easter from a variety of perspectives. So there's a humanist Easter in here. There's lots of different views. Frank Lloyd Wright's uncle, who was a Unitarian minister, is in here talking about Easter. I mean, I don't want to gloat, but Thank you. This is for all of you from me. Easter lasts until Pentecost, 50 days. So enjoy this. And then in Pentecost, what happens is everybody speaks in different languages and all understand each other. Is that right? Go in peace, friends. Yes.
Golden up, which I think a lot of people recognize. So please rise as you're willing and able, and we'll sing it in choir. Good.